In 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, I am Joshua Lisec. I'm joined today by Lisa Carpenter, who is Canada's spectacular health and wellness coach and expert in all things nutrition, and the author of the best-selling book, Let's Eat. Thank you for joining me today, Lisa. I really appreciate having you with me.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So can you tell the viewers just a little bit about what makes your book unique in a hyper-crowded space? Now, I could probably tell that a little bit, but I really like to hear in your own words what sets your book apart from all the competition out there.
Oh my goodness. So the book really focuses around food being a symptom of a bigger problem. And my work is really focused around how we have to understand why we're using food as a way to numb out how we're actually feeling, and the internal mindset work that has to shift. So it's who we need to become in order to lose weight and have a healthy relationship with food. So many people are focusing on the losing the weight and eating the right stuff or not eating the right stuff. And they're round and round on this diet roller coaster. And that's not really the problem. It's not really the problem. So that's kind of what the book dives into. So it's the beingness, so the mindset, and also the systems and structures around how to work with food, because you have to have both pieces.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a very unique topic in a space where everybody is saying, oh, here's how to, lose weight and trim the inches and gain the muscle. And you're like, well, yeah, you can do all of those things, but it's going to be a result. Long-term transformation is a result of working on your mind and on your emotions first, your feelings, right?
Yeah, the inside out stuff, and identifying that, it's not just about food addiction per se. That's one piece of it, but how we're actually addicted to the cycle of dieting and why we need to break that and what that even looks like. So, it doesn't matter whether it's food, drugs, alcohol, shopping, it's all the same stuff. And unless we really change from the inside out and our deep held beliefs around food, our bodies, nothing changes, which is why it's, a $1 billion industry.
Absolutely. So when we first met and started talking, about your book, one of the first things I noticed was your testimonials page, which was very long and very detailed with all of these case studies of miraculous transformation in people's lives, not just for their physical health, but their emotional health. And it really did get back to this idea of the psychology of addiction and how that plays such a role in the addictive diet cycle.
Absolutely. And, that's why I really made the decision to write the book, because I found the messaging behind what I do so challenging, because people just want, give me the easy button, Lisa, give me the meal plan, tell me what to do and how to do it. And once I lose weight, that is going to fix my problem. So just help me fix my problem. And this is why it is a $1 billion industry. But it's also why I've struggled to get my message out, because I don't do that, nor will I ever. And it's not that I want people to suffer. I don't. I'm trying to end their suffering. But the only way to end their suffering is by doing things differently. So the book became this beautiful, low cost entry point to my work. This is what I believe in. This is how I teach. You're either like, wow, this is a new perspective I've never had before. Or you're like, nope, I'm just going to go find the next person with a meal plan and move on. So that was the decision behind the book, was how do I get my work into the hands of more people? How do I talk about this in a way that really validates my work? Without having to figure out the specific marketing and messaging, right? I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. I'm not a marketer. And I've struggled with that, how to put it all together. So the book really becomes my marketing tool now, because for, $17.99, this is what I teach. And if you want to go deeper, this is how we can do it.
Right. So it's a strategic tool in your business rather than just, hey, I want to write this book and get it out there. It's, okay, I want to cultivate desire for my services, my high ticket offer. And I want to do that by having this tool out there that people can use to not just learn what makes you unique and what makes your process so different from everything else that's out there to get the results that they want. But it actually can help them get results, right? So it's not just, a vanity book out there. It's something that actually teaches people exactly what you walk through people with one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we dive into the mindset work it was really important at the end of every chapter that I had some actionable tips for them because, knowledge is not power. It's only potential power. We actually have to put it into action. So any self-help book, if you read it and put it on your shelf, you might have like those aha moments, but if you don't actually do the work, nothing will change. And then, I go into the framework around food. But the truth is, even with the framework around food, if you don't change your mindset, nothing changes. But it became this, like I said, my work isn't for everybody. I primarily work with people inside my courses, or I work with them one-to-one. I'm not going to resonate with everybody because it is uncomfortable work. Like, you really have to stare down stuff that you've been stuffing down for most of your life. So the book was just this beautiful way for me to present my work in a very unobtrusive way. I don't know if that's the right word, but like, they get to read it in the privacy of their home and see what comes up for them without actually having to step in a room and have my eyeballs on them.
Yes. So it fits a much needed role, it sounds like, in your business. So that being said, you've been in this business for years and years, like the expert in this, being on CBC before, one of the top health coaches on the entire internet. I think in 2016 and 2017 that was. So why was this the right time for the book, right? You've had these successes, but it felt like the right time for you to get this book out there, launched here recently. So take me into that a little bit. Why was it the right time?
No, that's such a great question. So I've been running my online courses, Let Eat. I want to call it Let's Eat, but it's called Eat, and Feelings and Food. And again, just trying to get the messaging around it and how to get it out to people more. I'd gotten frustrated, excuse me, and just tired of launching. From a business standpoint, it's just exhausting launching. And my work had expanded because I'd really stepped into this premise of what I call full frontal living, which is really about no longer numbing, like stop numbing and start living, whether that's with entrepreneurs in their businesses being busy all the time, whether it's people with food, whether it's how people are relating to their money mindset. And I decided to write the book because I really wanted to close the loop, so to speak, on just being the nutrition coach and just being the wellness coach that coaches this element. It gets to be like its own kind of standing thing in my business. So I still have my courses, I still have my programs, but now the book is the lead into those, as opposed to it being the one core thing that I work with people on. And it allowed me to step into a higher level of one-to-one client, which is what I've been doing. So like I said, not everybody has the resources to work with me one-to-one, and that's okay. But I wanted to make sure that regardless of what level people were at, that I was making my work accessible to them. That was really, really important to me. So it was just the right time to close the loop on that particular segment of what I teach around full frontal living.
Gotcha. There's a word that you used there toward the beginning of your answer that kind of stuck with me a little bit about, and that's exhausting, right? You said launching is exhausting, and how this book kind of fits in that piece to close the loop there. Now, writing a book itself is pretty exhausting to a lot of people, right? And I remember when we first had a conversation, you said something to the effect of, this book has to get done. It just has to get done, but I don't want to do it. Right? I think that was maybe word for word something that you said to me. So in that conversation, we talked about what it looks like to have someone else write the book. So what ultimately made you want to decide, okay, yes, I can have my cake and eat it too, so to speak?
Right. Okay. So there were a lot of things I had to get over. One, I had to get over that it wasn't, if somebody else wrote it for me, it wasn't my book, because that just wasn't the truth. The truth is, I went and had all my courses transferred. I mean, I gave you more content. We could probably write 5 books with the amount of content I gave you. So it was my book. It was my words. It was my writing. And it was an incredibly collaborative approach, which I truly love. But I knew, for me personally, how my brain works. I have a very hard time organizing and putting things into structure. you know, from working with me, I want to tell all the things to all the people, which actually doesn't help my people. If I fire hose them with too much information, it just shuts people down. So I needed help bringing all my content together so we could pull in from the sheer volume of almost 2 decades of work in a way that would take the reader through a journey, would give them enough of what they needed to actually allow them to see results, but not drown them in information. There's no way I could have done that because I'd been looking at it for years going, I'll never get this done. And I also knew, you know, we made the decision to do it in 3 months. That was incredibly intentional. I don't know if I'd ever do it again. However, it was amazing because I didn't have time to get in my head. I didn't have time to get caught up in the head trash because I'm a human being too. I have my own, you know, beliefs and limiting beliefs and blocks and all that kind of stuff. So by writing it on such a tight time frame, it forced me to actually be disciplined. I had to block off time in my calendar because you were spitting out chapters left, right, and center. So I had to read them. So it's like reading a book over and over and then go in and, oh, this doesn't resonate with me anymore. And I want to change this and I want to add this and let's say this. And I think this needs to be moved. So I really had to be fully engaged and in it as well. And I made the commitment to myself that I was going to allow it to be fun. So it was the energy that I brought to it. So with working with you doing kind of the heavy lifting, I got to do kind of the fun bits and the finesse and enjoy the process. And it was so powerful for me to see my words come to life on page. And, you know, everybody said, when I read this book, it's like you're talking to me. And I'm like, it's supposed to. It's my words. And I'm very open about the fact that I had a tremendous amount of help because I couldn't have done it myself. Like people are like, how did you get it done so quickly? I made a decision to get it done very quickly. There was a timing piece too, right? Like we wanted it to launch at the beginning of the year. We wanted it to come out when people were just getting out of that New Year's resolution garbage that everybody gets caught in. Like I wanted, you know, to kind of go into the market then. So yeah, there were a lot of reasons, but it would not have gotten written had I not hired you. So it was worth the investment, 100%.
Awesome. Well, I'm very glad to hear that. And yeah, it was I think probably, you know, some people who are watching who maybe haven't gone down the road of becoming an author yet. It sounds like a really daunting process, but I like what you said where you get to do the fun parts in your role. All the difficult, hard, time-intensive stuff, you know, that's delegated so you can be in the position as not just the author, but the book strategist, right? And seeing how it fits in your business and how you're going to leverage the book as this, like as we said, tool to get to that next level where you wanted to be. So post-book, you know, the book's launched, it's out. What are some of the like traction you're seeing for the book to get your business, move your business forwards? What have you been seeing over the past couple of months since it's been out?
That's a really great question. So, you know, I didn't write the book with the belief that, oh, this book is going to make me rich. A book doesn't make you rich. However, it does definitely elevate your status, which leads to more wealth and abundance in your business, right? It definitely has raised how people view me, right? People, it's really, really fascinating to me, right? People are like, oh my goodness, you wrote a book. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm still a normal human being. Like anybody can write a book. And I'm very open about the fact that I had a tremendous amount of help with it. So we have all these beliefs and stigmas around what it is to be an author. Anyway, so it's opened a tremendous amount of doors. It's elevated my status. It's given me a lot more credibility. It's given me a lot more confidence around my work too, because for all the years of trying to push the boulder up the hill, I'm like, am I just crazy? Like, because I was so attached to my programs, I knew they could help people. I read the testimonials, but feeling so frustrated about it, about the marketing of it. So now I have this amazing book that I can leverage to help me get on podcasts, to help me get in front of other people, because it's like a status or a credibility that I didn't have before. Now being a published author, it just helps with things. So it also, you know, is I don't know all the ways we're going to use it in my business, but it is such a long-term strategy for growth. It's always something that I can kind of put in the mix whenever I'm opening any type of program. And I believe it's going to be probably one of maybe a series of books around all these different concepts. So it's like a jumping off point for me. It's been really, really phenomenal.
Well, that is very exciting. So it sounds like it's, you know, it's the X factor, it's the wild card, so to speak, in the growth of your business here and in the next several stages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know where it'll take us. I mean, I've hired somebody now to help me with a little bit more higher level publicity. I'm super excited about that. And like I said, it just opens up doors to other things, and to see people sharing it on social media. And you know, I'm getting mentioned more often now because people are like, well, you got to talk to Lisa. She actually like knows her stuff. This is what she wrote about.
Yes.
It's kind of been a game changer. And I don't even think I really fully understand the depth of that yet, because it does still feel relatively new. Like when did we launch it? February, right?
Yeah, February. So just about 2 months ago.
Yeah. So it's still kind of new in terms of the book life. So yeah, it's cool.
All right. Well, I'm so glad to get the quick recap with you, Lisa. And for everybody watching again, Lisa Carpenter is the author of Canada's best-selling health and wellness nutrition book that takes the alternative path that is not the addictive cycle of dieting. Really glad to talk with you today, Lisa. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to work with you. I'm sure you're going to continue to have tons of success. And, you know, I just think it's really important that people know that if you have something to say and you're struggling with how am I going to put my words into a book, it's your responsibility to hire somebody to help you to get it out there. Don't use that as an excuse to not get your work out into the world. And there's absolutely zero shame in working with a ghostwriter, because it's still your work. It's still your words. It's just getting the support you need so you can help people. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's kind of like the moms who argue over natural birth versus drug birth. I know you're getting ready to have a baby. It's the same thing. At the end of the day, as long as you have a healthy baby.
Yes, absolutely.
Gets into this world doesn't matter. So get your work into this world by getting some help if you're really struggling to do that. I'm so glad I did. It's been very, very cool to birth the book.
I love it, Lisa. I really appreciate you challenging that perception, taking it head on, and replacing it with the truth.
Right. I think people
all right. Thanks again,
how
Lisa.
many books are ghostwritten, don't you think?
Many, very many. Yes.
Many.
Many.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
All right. Sure thing. Thanks, Lisa. Bye-bye.
Bye.